just a few months ago is when we really started to see the momentum. And that's where our, confidence and our motivation started picking up even more.
People are like, really? I'm like, yes, with my pretty nails, I work on manufacturing equipment. It might, but I quickly realized like they're not building what we're doing.
It's crazy until it's done. Everything's a crazy idea until it happens. Welcome back to another episode of the Chats with Clark podcast. I'm your host, Joe Clark, and here at Chats with Clark, we don't do poppy intros. We get straight to the point. And the point of today's episode, episode 82, are Noura and Kat, two local content creators who expand the realms of fashion, travel, and particularly the desire for authentic conversations, especially in an unfiltered way, which is why they call their show the Unfiltered Brew podcast. Kat, Noura, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Welcome to the show. I love the notion that your conversations that you desire to have are seemingly unfiltered, right? And to dive into it just right off the rip, when we do things here at Chats with Clark, the most unfiltered way that we start is to ask the guest, what is the best thing that there is to know about you?
I think that I guess I would answer for both of us that we are actually really fun people to hang out with.
Yeah.
Behind the screen, to be honest. And we're just like any other person.
We're just normal
people, honestly.
That like to have fun.
And we poured our passion into the podcast, which is called Unfiltered Brew. Thanks for the amazing intro.
Yeah.
And we just kind of fed off our friendship and poured into this podcast because we are generally two really good friends off screen, not just on screen. And like the dynamic that you see.
It's not fake, guys.
It's not fake. The dynamic that you see in person is what you actually see behind the screen too. Like when you watch us on YouTube or Instagram, you're going to get the real authentic us both on screen and off screen. And that's what I love about our podcast. And that's why we called it the Unfiltered Brew, because there's no filter. Like I think to an extent, like we keep it friendly-ish, but like we say like whatever we want to say on the podcast. And like that's why we called it Unfiltered Brew, because when people come on the show, we tell them like we want to know you. Don't put on a face. We're not trying to put on this show for anybody. Like we want to get to know you as a person and why you're doing what you're doing and the purpose behind it. And this is why it's called Unfiltered. Like we don't want any filter.
And people love that. Like people love authenticity, and that's like our goal is to be our authentic selves. There's a lot of, anyone can go watch curated
content. Overly curated content.
But we're just very unfiltered and we're very authentic. And I think people love that because they get to see us. They get to like know us better and they get to build that relationship. Even though we've never met these people, people always constantly message us like, you guys have the best chemistry. You guys, I'm getting to know you through your content, so it's nice to hear that,
Absolutely.
And it's nice to know that people are actually watching. And like Noura said, like we are ourselves off and on the camera. There is no,
and you'll get a read to our character like on camera. It's kind of hilarious too. Like we've had like people call us like, oh, I can see the way you are. Like you're giving, like Kat would say something and I'd give her a little look and you can notice those little.
We balance each other out very well.
And
a lot of customers, oh my God, a lot of guests have said that, like, you guys have this, you just fit so well together because, I'm this like bubbly, like crazy, jumping out of airplanes kind of person. And she's
literally
very like, I'm just gonna have my most on the yacht today.
But like
very
type A and type B. I don't know how it works, but it works.
Yeah, that's perfect. What struck me about the two of you that I've been intrigued by is that you guys have an animated presence and you're very down for Cleveland, which is something that is near and dear to my heart too. And I think that that standing up for the underdog, hearing those stories, telling the untold stories in the unfiltered way is what really drew me to the two of you right off the bat.
And I mean, our goal was to create something, when someone says why, like, what is the reason why you guys created what you did? And it's because we want to highlight people from Cleveland that have amazing stories, that so much talent that just comes from our own city, and we wanted these people that are successful and are creative to have a platform to be able to come on and tell their stories to people, because at the end of the day, we want people to be inspired and learn something new from us.
But what makes
Absolutely.
it even more interesting that we're both not from Cleveland.
No.
Yeah, I need this backstory, right? So like I love to, as you're talking about the origins of the pod and kind of the rationale of, hey, like let's tell the stories that need to be told, which I'm all in on. Tell me your stories briefly. Let's talk about who the two of you are and how the two of you came together, because that's essential
That's
for
my
creating this
favorite
dynamic.
part because I'm so grateful that I met her and how it all just happened. It was, you want me to go first?
Yeah, go for
You're
it.
already going.
You already know? Okay. So I I was born in Sarajevo, Bosnia, which technically when I was born, it was Yugoslavia. And I'm a Croatian from Bosnia, and I came to America in 1999 here with nothing. Just our family flew because we actually were in a war back home. Um, so we came here. My uncle was our sponsor, and I had no idea how to speak English. I didn't know how to say. All I knew how to say actually was "What's your name?" That's it. I came here and I was like, "What is this?" Like everyone's talking this language. I had no idea what anyone was talking about. But to make the long story short, I went to high school in West G. I went to middle school too, and then I moved to Willoughby area, which is on the east side. I went to nursing school and didn't realize that wasn't really like a fit for me. I mean, it was, but I just like fell in love with the hospitality industry. Then I moved to Nashville for 2 years. I moved back here and something was telling me it was crazy how like it works when you like look at it now. When I was in Nashville, I was debating, should I go? Should I not go? Like, should I accept this job offer that I have or should I not? And something was
To
like,
Nashville or to
no,
come
to
back?
come back to
Okay.
Cleveland because I had moved from Cleveland to Nashville. And Nashville was amazing. And I'm like,
Little did she know is
I
whenever you're
just
waiting
have
for her
to
to move
go.
back.
I said something was telling me go. Was me go. Literally. And I'm like, all right. So then I'm like looking for apartments and I was going between like a few others downtown because I wanted to be downtown. Like I'm a single girl. Like I don't want to live in a suburb by myself, you know? So, and I'm a city girl. And I moved in here and I met so many friends, all this. And then I was just like sitting at the pool one day and this brunette comes in and I'll let you decide. I'll let you take over
story.
your story and then we'll talk about the pool.
So, yeah, similar backstory to hers. I moved here back in 2011. I actually went to Cleveland State. She was just like around the corner. And coming from Kuwait, heavily, the country Kuwait heavily relies on their oil manufacturing, right? And so I thought I was going to move back to after college and just work in the oil refineries. I don't know what I was thinking. I graduated from Cleveland State with an engineering degree, and even though I knew that wasn't my passion, I just thought this was the path I was supposed to be on because I come from a Middle Eastern family, which you're either a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer.
Yeah.
So I went with becoming an engineer, and then my plans were to move back to Kuwait after graduating. And long story short, I went through a really bad breakup, and I decided to just stay here. And I got a job offer at a startup and I worked my way around the company and I knew inside that I wanted to do more. And I've always been someone who's done more than just one thing. So I was a personal trainer, I'm a yoga instructor, still am, guys, every Friday. And essentially, after leaving that job, I had like a year of like self exploration. And I was just on this journey. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was in my mid 20s, completely lost. I traveled for 4 months. I came back and I'm like, what's next for me? And I always knew I wanted to be in the media in some way or more. Like, even though it was very untraditional for my family, but I knew I had a voice. I'm a very outspoken person and I just didn't know how to express that. And I used Instagram as a way and like an avenue to lean into that side of my personality because I felt like I always had to shrink myself in rooms, especially coming from like my background of like I worked in pharma, it's very regulated, and like you would walk into a room, you're certain things that you say and you don't say, especially like in the corporate America in general, right? And so I had a different personality outside of work hours, I'll tell you that. Um, and I leaned into my Instagram page, grew that. I was personal training. I was posting workout videos. Like I was finding myself again after that breakup. I feel like everybody goes through one bad breakup in their life, and it changes their path completely, right? And after that, I was consulting, I was traveling, and then one day I happened to come to Katarina. I've always wanted to do a podcast. I actually attempted to start a podcast, and it was going to be revolving around health and fitness because I was a trainer and I was really passionate about my journey, finding myself, getting healthy again. And then I came across Katarina at the pool one day.
And it's crazy because I've always wanted to start a podcast too. So we both and as a kid growing up, I would pretend like I had my own show, and like my brother would be like trying to be my videographer. Literally, like my brother was like, I would make him be my videographer. I'm like, you're gonna walk around the backyard with me and I'm gonna act like I'm on my own. I've always wanted to be like an actor, like in the not service industry. Well, I haven't, but like in the entertainment industry as well. And it was my dream since I was little. And like a lot of the times, like even what she said, like it didn't fit with our culture. Like even with my parents, they would constantly be like, oh, stop dreaming. You got to just go to nursing school. You got to do this, do that. And I was like, well, no, like what if I want to follow my dreams, and I'm finally doing it now.
But you know what, speaking about like when you mentioned culture and family, part of like the healing journey that I was on was understanding is that they wanted the best for us. And then like my parents never went to college, you know what I mean? So for them, going to college was like a huge milestone. And obviously for them, putting us on that trajectory was the best of what they knew at the time, right? So veering off of that path was very untraditional, and maybe it was a little scary, even for me, like to step out of the path I should have stayed on was scary and unconventional. But then I think now when they see us, and I'm sure they're very proud, and and I think it just takes a lot to be comfortable knowing that it's uncomfortable for them to see us veer off of our traditional path that they thought we're supposed to be on. And so just coming off of that, that's what I'm saying. Like it's like it took me a long time to just understand and forgive. Not that I was like upset with them, just I knew I carried that heaviness in my heart, knowing that I wanted to do more, not just follow the traditional path of getting a college degree, moving back and getting married and having kids, having a family. Like that was the path I thought I was supposed to be on when I was in my early 20s. So when I went through that bad breakup, I was like, whoa, there's more to life than what I thought was. And that's where it got us to today, to today.
So we met at the pool.
And the funny is, like, I was promoting or actually shooting content for a local health brand, Unrefined. I'm sure you know Unrefined. And then I offered her, I think, a healthy cupcake.
You did.
And then, thank you. And then we just chatted in the pool, and we got so deep into our background, and we noticed that our themes were very similar, and we resonated with each other. And then I remember just point blank telling her, "Do you want to start a podcast?" Like out of nowhere, like talking, like, "Do you want to start a podcast?" She's like, "I've always wanted to start a podcast." I'm like, "Well, let's just do it." And then like we talked about it for a few times. We started going out, building we've only been friends. People think we've been friends since we were kids. Yeah. We've only been friends for how long now?
3 years.
3 years. Yeah. So we met at the pool, and then our friendship grew. You just know, you know what I mean? You know how you have a soulmate?
You know.
She's basically like a soulmate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say there's a lot of energy, right? Like I feel like you could read that quickly on people, and there's a jive that just happens that isn't forced. Whether it's again romantic, as best friends, whatever the case is, you could tell right away, like, oh, that's someone that I just kind of hit it off with, and like, it's easy and seamless. Yeah, yeah. I feel like that's what has allowed the two of you to keep.
And you're allowed to have best friend soulmates. Yeah, you don't have to just be in a relationship. Isn't just someone that is love related. A soulmate can be like a best friend, and like a mentor, and she's my best friend and she's my soulmate. So we literally it's crazy. It's just, and everyone talks about how amazing our chemistry is. And that's what's like our friendship is what really sells and is authentic. And
throughout the pod, how have you found that your relationship has developed, or that you've been able to better use your skills together and make it cohesive?
I think so. I always say this, like, not only are we friends, but we're also business partners. And obviously, our friendship gets tested in these moments, right? Because not only are you building a brand, but you're still friends at the end of the day. And like, how do you separate the two? And it took us a long time to understand and empathize with each other when we're going through something, whether it's personal or work related, and to understand when to separate the two. And I think I learned to do that because I worked in such like a corporate world, and like I left my emotions at the door. That's how it was. Like, you don't bring your emotions into your work. And it was something that we had to learn to do with each other because we are friends at the end of the day. And like, I'm not
But
saying
you do have to, unfortunately, sometimes separate that
yeah
from, like like she said, your emotions have to, and like I've learned that myself because I am a very emotional person. And there are certain things that like she's done or I've done that upset her, or like she's done, so we just have to, I guess it's all like a learning process at the end of the day. Like, it's never like, oh, you have to know how to handle this. You learn how to handle it as you go, and you learn we've learned different things about each other through the process. Like, hey, like this upsets me. Like, we've learned how to communicate too. Everyone has different communication styles, and I mean, we're very similar, but we are very open with one another. Like, that's one thing that's very important. And I highly recommend that to anybody that's trying to start a business with like a very close friend. Is communication is important. Communication is the key. And her and I, no matter what it is, we always get it off our chest. Like, hey, this upset me about you. Hey,
we hold
don't
each
do
other
that
accountable.
about me. We do.
Yeah. We
So
hold each
it's
other
just,
accountable, and that's just part of
it's a
building
learning
something.
experience,
Like you
through
said,
the whole process.
like she said, like we learn as we experience something on the spot. And like our friendship did get tested like so many different times.
It got tested, but it wasn't enough to be like, oh my God, like, how people explode and all that. It was enough to like learn, like you learn about yourself, like, oh, well, maybe like I was acting that way, or maybe, like I need to learn how to handle that situation better. And like, we teach each other like things that maybe we haven't even known about ourselves. And I think that's important because she makes me want to be better, and I make her want to be better. And that's like, you want to make each other better,
To your point, Kat, I think that yin and yang is kind of what's so essential when you have, again, a duo in particular, because you need to pick up where the other leaves off.
Yeah.
How have you felt that the two of you have grown by working together on this project?
That's a good question.
I think I've grown, like how we have grown.
Well, I think we're to start with just English is our second language.
Yeah.
And so I was an introvert. Again, and that's something I think maybe I missed saying earlier, very sheltered, introverted. And that's why I
Can't tell now.
but that's why I leaned into, like, again, when you're talking to a phone, like your camera, no one's really watching you. So I was a lot more comfortable talking and posting online than actually talking to people in person. And so I think the way we've both grown, because also English is, you didn't know how to speak a word of English when you moved here. I think one thing that I think I would highlight is the fact that we can sit across guests and like yourself today and speak openly and be comfortable with speaking and about our personal experiences, our work experiences, and just be okay with that and have the confidence to speak up. Because I think for the longest time I was a very, very shy girl, and it takes a lot, I think, to just, be vulnerable online and put yourself out there. Like you said, like with every good, bad comes with it too. I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say that we've had no, like, I'm not gonna call
bickering,
them like not even that. Like online, we've had some comments here and there, people like not being fully supportive of what we do, just haters, really. But honestly,
thank you, haters.
Keep us going. They keep us going. They really keep us going. Like, we've had situations earlier this year where we've had like hate campaigns, like against, like, it was crazy.
It was wild.
But those campaigns like literally push us so much more. Like, you guys don't understand. Like, it gives me the drive to keep going, and it fuels me. Like, oh, you think I'm not capable of this? Oh, just wait and watch. And like since then we've had
And we've had like people even talk like, oh, why is Kat talking on her podcast about men in flip-flops?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like,
it's
what
like
do you care
we've
about?
had like
You
people
know,
like just say really dumb shit online, to be
but
honest.
you realize when you are trying to grow something and when you are trying to create, you know, like go after your passion, you realize who your true friends are at the end of the day.
Oh
You
yeah,
realize who's there for you, who supports you, who wants the best for you.
yeah,
And we've lost like contact with some people because, you know, like they see us becoming closer and they're like, oh my God, you know, they're now building this brand and it intimidates people, you know?
Yeah, I think it is a matter of like I think often we talk about it that way, right? It's like if we lose something. I'm not sure that we actually lose anything at
We
all. I think
gain.
I think it's almost like a realignment of where our vision is, right? So it's like, all right, like if it's so broad, then so much more fits into it than when it's more narrowed and focused on what we're trying to do, and then it's of course whatever fits into that lane is what's going to stay with us. And I think that that's not necessarily losing at all. It's almost like a refocusing.
Exactly. I like the way you put that. Exactly. Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, I've always kind of felt that way. It's a difficult reality that some things need to be cut in order to have the meat that you want, right? You always cut off the fat to have what you
You
need.
shed that layer off.
Yeah.
So
Some people are just meant to cross your path and just keep, you know, some people are just not meant to grow with you at that point, you know?
yeah, but like she said, like I think seeing our growth and what we're doing for the city has allowed us even to take off that layer from our eyes and see people's true colors for who they are, the good and the bad. And that's one thing I would say, like that's shaped who we are today because we're very protective of our time and our space and who we bring into our circle. Yes, we have a platform on Instagram, on TikTok, or on YouTube, but our space is very protected and we only welcome people we who are aligned with our vision, aligned with our values. And that's why I think we're where we are today.
Yeah.
How do you go about handling that negative criticism when it comes your way? Because I've had this question ample times. It's like when you are building something and something comes your way that is negative, right? Or there is that just a hater, to your point, commentary. It's sometimes difficult to not internalize or to recognize that maybe it's not criticism at all and rather just hateful. How do you navigate that so that you don't internalize it and can actually constructively grow?
And motivate to be better.
Is
It
it
pushes
so?
us to be better. Like when someone like says negative things, like, I mean, it crosses your mind, but at the end of the day, these people, I'm going to be real right now. Like these people aren't paying my bills. Their thoughts aren't paying our bills or our equipment or whatever else that we need, you know? So, of course, as a human being, it does like affect you in from a second. And then you realize like, no, like I'm not going to allow this person to like get in contact with my energy at all. Like there's just certain things and certain people that can have access to, and this is not going to have access to me. You know,
like she said, it's all about how you protect
your peace.
And yes, does it maybe bother us for like a minute or two? It might, but I quickly realized like they're not building what we're doing. They're not putting themselves out there with
it gets her going.
Oh yeah, and it
activates
me.
this.
It
All right,
activates
let's go.
me. Like as soon as I see one comment, one whatever DM, it activates me, and I go on like full on workforce mode for the next like 72 hours. Like,
What allows you to stay disciplined? How do you discipline yourself, Noura? Because it's one thing to like just get fired up and be enraged, right? Which is great, and that lasts and then fizzles. So when it fizzles, how do you guys to collectively keep yourself disciplined?
That's a really good question.
Like, so Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO, like he's like, you know, his contention is it's 10 years. You're putting in 10 years for a podcast to do its thing. So are you ready to do the grind for 10 years to maybe see results that, again, of course, he's built one of the largest in the world.
Yeah.
But to that point, the discipline is necessary.
I think I look back at I honestly, I go and look back at where we started. Think back to those early days when we were sitting at the pool, experiencing. Mind you, we have no media background. Yes, I used to post videos on Instagram, but we didn't know how to work like equipment and mics, and like we used to just test our own, like in her apartment, like just us two.
Like when it comes to like the podcast and stuff. Yeah.
Sure.
And like sometimes, yes, maybe one bad comment might discourage me for a moment, but then I have 100 good comments that motivate me to keep going. People love to see. I mean, I told you the other day I was at a store. A woman actually stopped there and then took off her sunglasses and stared at me for a moment. And I'm like, and I looked back at her and I'm like, and then she saw me looking at her. She's like, "Are you Unfiltered Brew?" I'm like, "Yes, I am. I'm one half of Unfiltered Brew." So that to me was so, these little interactions. And then when I talked to her, and I said this on my page the other day, like those little interactions I have with people that actually listen into our podcast, what keep me going. And to hear her say that she enjoyed one of our episodes and really resonated with the guest that we had on, Tina Shamoun, who's a powerhouse. She's a woman founder. She has a family and she's incredible. She's selling her training.
Shout out Tina.
Shout out Tina in nationwide in over 500 stores. And so for that 30-second interaction I had with this lady and the joy that it brought to her to watch that episode, and the way she told me she resonated because she has a family, she has kids, and she knows she doesn't feel like she's alone watching the episode, because there's people out there who are also working moms, doing full-time jobs, taking their kids to sport practices and games and traveling and still running a business and doing all that at once. It just helps people feel like they're not alone in this.
Yeah.
And that interaction with that lady I had in the store just made me feel like this is why we're doing this.
Yeah.
This is why.
Totally.
And it goes back to when we first started talking, and someone can learn something new and we take something from each episode.
Yeah.
And that's our goal.
I think that's what's so cool, right? Like every number that you see online as a human being, at the end of the day, that's behind that number, which is again a crazy thought, because you're like, oh my God, there's these people that are supporting this community and growing with you. To your point, Noura, I'm curious. Well, I think that it's important to be good stewards of the game, right? You have to play the game in order to grow in the respective podcast space or whatever the space is. That's part of that engineering of a goal, of a product.
Yeah.
How do you study the game? How do the two of you find yourselves to be those good stewards of the game?
That's a tough question.
Can you repeat that again?
Yeah. So what struck me about Noura's commentary was that you guys had learned the equipment, you're tinkering with it all, trying to, again, figure out what's best.
Yeah.
And I think part of that trial and error is it's rooted in this desire to be a good podcast host, to be exceptional. And then you have to play the game. You have to do the studying. You have to do the things that allow you to grow.
I think
we're very self-taught. Self-taught.
When it comes to like technical things, I would say self-taught, yes, but also with trial and error. Like when it comes to like because of my technical background, I will get handsy with things. Like I have no problem. I've worked on manufacturing equipment, like literally, like guys, like people are like, really? I'm like, yes, with my pretty nails, I worked on manufacturing equipment.
I don't see her. Oh my God, I want to send you this one picture she sent me, and she's like in this.
I'm in gear.
What is it, like hazmat outfit? With this, she's like, I can't wait for podcasts to be made.
But
yes, wild.
I think also, I lost my train of thought here. We're talking about.
I apologize. I interrupted you.
It's okay. Trial and error, yes, but also, one thing I like to, other than like the technicalities, when it comes to podcasting and learning how to become a better speaker, especially for us, where again English is our second language. I listen to other podcasts. Like this is something I love. I loved podcasts way before I started podcasts, and I listen to them on my walks, at the gym, in the car. I study them when I'm listening. This is how I learn how to be a better interviewer, like yourself. Like you're doing an amazing job today. So I'm picking up on cues as you speak. I'm like, okay, because I'm still learning to become a better speaker.
Yeah.
And
I'm the same way, honestly, because I've always been so afraid of speaking. Public speaking was the worst one in high school. And it freaked me out. I would forget everything the minute that I got up on that stage. And my mind would go blank. And I think that this has really taught me how to be able to like talk. And like there's certain, words to say, how to express myself. And Noura's a great speaker. And, sometimes I listen to her and I'm like, gosh, like, You know, I just have to, it's like me coming out of my comfort zone. You know, I'm not, me being in front of the camera like last year and now is like a whole different person. While even though I've always wanted to be in front of the camera, but it was just terrifying, scary.
As soon as it hits record, it's like,
even though you're not staring at the camera, you know it's there and it's recording, and you're like, oh.
I remember I was
scary
when I was working my job after college. I was like in my early 20s, and I traveled to Copenhagen for work. I came back and we had this town hall meeting, like with an entire company, like 300 people. And then they just put me on the spot. They wanted me to speak about my experience because it was a Danish company, so their headquarters were in Denmark. So I got to visit the headquarters. And they gave me the microphones and invited me up on stage. I froze. No, I froze. Nothing came out. Nothing came out. Nothing came out. I held the mic, and then the CEO and the VPs are staring at me, and I just held the mic, and I think I said 2 words, and I was like, I froze. And then they took the mic away from me, and I was like a running joke in the company for the next like 2 years.
Oh my God. And look at you now.
To see myself come this far, I have to say I'm very proud of us. I am
very proud of us too, because we both come from like, you know, like she said, like I'm scared of public speaking. I've always been so afraid of public speaking. And for me to even admit this on camera is like a growth of my own. You know, I'm usually like, I don't know. I'm very, I don't like to talk about what I'm scared of and all that, but like it also opened me up a lot. You know, like with doing our own episodes, like that's another thing that I was so afraid of doing, is putting my word out there, saying everything that I was going through and dealing with out there for people to listen and hear it, you know. But I love it now. I don't really care what anyone thinks at this point. And neither does she. And that's why we're just like
unfiltered.
Unfiltered.
I think the pride notion is something that you can tangibly feel, right? When something starts to go well and you've been putting so much effort into it, you're like, oh, it's kind of natural, right? And it's like we're doing this thing and it's grooving and we're jiving, everything's working. What was the turning point for you when you recognized, like, hey, we're getting some momentum here?
What's your thought?
I think, like, okay, so at first, you know, obviously everything is hard when you first start it. And at first when we started and to like now, I think we just a few months ago is when we really started to see the momentum. And that's where our, you know, confidence and our motivation started picking up even more. And now it's like there's no stopping it. So like at first it was really hard. And there were times that we both thought like, oh my gosh, it's gonna work. Like you doubt it, you question it. But then there's always something that pops up that reminds us why we started. There's always something that reminds us, keep going, keep pushing, even through the hard times. Like she's been there through me, through my hard times. I've been there through her. Like we've gone through a lot to get to this point. And now that like we see the momentum, people are recognizing us. And I mean, for someone to go up to her at a store, like that's great. Like that's amazing. Like that makes you feel so good inside that like our little craft that we're building is actually becoming known, and it's a big motivational factor for us. Like we're just gonna keep going. And it goes back to your question on when you asked us how are we gonna continue it? Even if it's 10 years, we're just gonna keep going because we're gonna go back to thinking about when we were kids, how bad we wanted it, when this is our passion, this is like what we want, and someone out there is gonna see the potential in us and they're gonna, I know that. But
for you, Noura, what do you think was the turning point?
I think I kind of agree with what she said, like a few months. I think the turning point, I think, was early summer. So I know we shot like about, 20 episodes or so last year. And then we took a 2 months break because of travel and commitments that we had. And then we came back, we recalibrated. We said, okay, we got to keep going because we did lose motivation. Our engagement was low too. Like it was around between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, we already put in so much effort into this over the last a year and a half actually, because it goes beyond the first episode release, because the planning stage was actually summer of 24. Our first episode went live April of 25. So there was 8 months of just like planning, testing, trial and errors, getting together, building our friendship. But I think the turning point was definitely like early summer. I think especially coming up to the Fashion Talks fashion show that we did. That was our first ever live activation, and we put it together, I kid you not, within I think 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 maybe.
And that
max
was just
3.
us, like all of us. No one helped us.
We had Eamon on the show, and this is why we created the show, bringing people together and being able to share platform with other incredible people. And I have to give thanks to Eamon Ali to giving us that opportunity to show, because I called her up out of the blue. I said, I have a proposition for you. And I think I was in Florida. I called her.
Yeah.
What do you think? And then the show was literally like less than 3 weeks away. I'm like, what do you think of us doing a live activation at your show? And we interview people, and we'll go with it. She's like, I love it, let's do it. Like, she didn't even hesitate. And I told myself earlier this year, this is the year of yeses. And I feel like I've been attracting people who say yes, because I don't want to hear no anymore. I want to hear yes, let's get it done, let's do it. Even if it's hard, even there's roadblocks, maybe I want to hear yes, but maybe there's like a longer path we have to take on to get there. But I never want to hear the word no. And that's like, that's what I've been saying from the beginning of the year. I don't like the word no anymore. I'm like, don't say no. I want to say yes to opportunities, yes to collaborations with like local businesses and brands and founders. We're gonna push ourselves and just say yes to
everything.
That comes our way. And then you attract that same energy. Because Craig Hassel, he's the CEO of Playhouse Square, CEO of this amazing district. We had him on the podcast August of 25. Yes, August
last
20,
year. Yeah.
Last year. And I know him personally. He is one of the most uplifting personalities I've ever met. Probably the most uplifting, positive guy I've ever met. And
he's lovely. He really is.
He's really lovely. And he's running this entire district. And he's always, and I remember telling him this, I'm like, how are you so up and positive and on the go, and nothing brings you down? Like something could be on fire.
Yeah.
And he'll find a way. He's like, things happen. You just got to keep going. And he's a yes man. Every time I called up Craig for something, for a favor, or like I need help with this, I got it. Yes. And he'll send an email, and he'll connect me with this person. And it's just like a domino effect. It's all about it's all about who you know, but also you want those people to also reciprocate that energy. Yeah. So the same thing with Eamon. I gave her a call. She's like, let's do it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Yeah. And I don't know how everything you saw on that setup that we did, we ordered and got done within like the last week.
Yeah.
We were working on like the last second on that setup that we did. Yeah. And it turned out to be one of the most beautiful events that we've ever done. And I think that's just going to be one of many
that are coming.
It's such a great idea. And the exposure is awesome.
Yeah. And it's great because even that day, like, we got to connect with so many people that we've never even met.
Yeah.
And so many people like recognized us and like, they're like, oh my gosh, they didn't know about us. So we exposed ourselves to so many people, and everyone loved it. I mean, it was honestly an amazing event.
And I have to like really emphasize this, because I wasn't a believer of energy. I used to think this like, oh, what is this energy talks, vibrations, frequency? But man, it works. And the more positive energy you put out there, the more you'll receive it back.
So true.
And I've noticed that theme in my life.
I'm a big energy person. I'm very spiritual. Yeah. Like, I'm very like, your tongue is the most important part of your body, and you don't understand how important it is. Yeah. Because anything you speak becomes a reality. Like, it comes to existence.
Yeah. That's why they say.
And if you talk negative, you're consistently going to be at this like level of like, your vibration is going to be so low. So no wonder you're going to attract all these negative. But if you are so positive, that's when all the positivity happens. That's when things that, you just attract things, If you talk to yourself, have you ever noticed, and I talked about this even on our podcast, when you wake up in the morning and you tell yourself, oh my gosh, today's going to be an amazing day. Like, we're going to have a great day. Everything happens amazing throughout the whole day. Like, things, you attract positivity, you attract miracles, you attract all these things. And then when you wake up, like, oh, I'm so tired. Like, your whole day, you're stuck behind a train. You're like, everything it literally matters. Like, the way you talk to yourself and the way you talk for yourself, it matters.
Yeah, that's why they say when you look in the mirror, only speak positive affirmation. I believe it now because I've seen things happen in my life. I'm like, whoa, this is wild. And like
meditation,
yeah. And just being also expressing gratitude. It doesn't matter, I think, where we're at in life. I have to remind myself and hold myself accountable to this, because sometimes I also forget to appreciate the little things in life. And yes, we're running this podcast, we're building a brand, but sometimes it's also really healthy to slow down and look around you. Even, I'm not saying that we have to hit 1 million subscribers by the end of the year. It would be nice, don't get me wrong. But if we don't, I want to still appreciate where we have, what we have right now, and what we've built so far, and the relationships that we have, and like with all the incredible guests that we brought on, and like, you know, podcast led us to you, and this is like another relationship we just added to our circle. So that's a type of thing I want to appreciate, and also tell people, like, we're not just doing this just to do it. Like, we're building relationships, we're nurturing ourselves within this amazing city. We see so much potential in the city of Cleveland. We're both not from here. And I don't want to just highlight Cleveland because of the big sports teams that we have. Like, there's so much more. Like, this theater district that we're in, it's the second largest theater district in America after New York. The largest season ticket holders is Cleveland, Ohio. We have amazing lakefront. It's basically a beach and basically an ocean.
It's a hidden gem.
It's a really hidden gem,
and a hidden gem that people need to come experience.
Yeah,
it's not as bad as everybody else. You know,
it's not bad. It's not
bad at all.
People actually, Craig Hassel. He's from Australia, and I asked him actually the other day. I'm like, oh. I'm like, do you generally love Cleveland? He's like, I love it here. Like, he brings all of his friends here from Australia, and they absolutely love it. They say that he's had friends that do east to west road trips, like from Australia. They'll come here and do like a road trip from the Northeast down to California, and they say their favorite stop is Cleveland, Ohio.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is a great accolade right there. Yeah. To have people coming from a place totally different, and then to experience here and love it. I think
we have it all, guys.
We have it all. We have the oceanfront. Yeah, the land. We have the oceanfront. We have all 4 seasons, even though the winter might be a little too long for my liking. But other than that,
get you on that ski.
I don't do snow sports. But yeah, just being grateful for what we built so far, and also for anybody that's like watching and listening, if you have a passion for something and you see a vision, go for it. Do you think we knew what we were doing? We had no idea. We were 2 girls who just wanted to yap on camera, and I think you just have to do it. Take the risk. Take the risk.
Just do it. Don't think about it. Don't overthink it. Just do it, and you'll learn through the process. And just like how she says, we express so much gratitude for where we're at and like the people that we meet, but we also express gratitude for the hard times, because we've learned something through those hard times. So like, even when something bad does happen, or when we run into an obstacle along the way, we're grateful for that obstacle because it taught us something. So don't ever be afraid to make a mistake, because you're a human. Everyone makes mistakes.
Those are the better lessons anyway. They teach you far more than the highs, right? The highs are great and you have to celebrate and cherish them, but the lows are how you
But don't be afraid to start over either. Like, so many, especially women, are afraid to start over in their lifetime, whether they left a job, or they moved to a different state, or they went through a breakup. It's okay to start over. I started over many times, many times, and each time I think I've learned something. And looking back now, I'm like, man, I was really hard on myself. Like, look at where I am right now. Like, my 20s, like, girls, if you're in your 20s, or men, if you're in your 20s, that's your like learning stage. And then your 30s are way better than your 20s.
30s are the best years.
Your 20s, you learn what you like, what you don't like, what you want to do, what you don't want to. So experiment. If you're in your 20s, experiment with life. Leave jobs, circle jobs, do more than one thing. Like, people always ask me, like, how are you always doing something? I'm like, I think I have ADD. I self-diagnose myself. And B, because I love to experience different things. I'm like, I don't think, unfortunately, the school system programs you to stay on one trajectory and one lane. And I hate that it programmed me too like that in my early 20s. I'm like, oh, I'm an engineer. I have to stick to this. I'm going to, be in corporate America for the next 60 years. I'll retire when I'm 62. That was not for me. It really isn't. And I have to emphasize that it's okay to get out of your lane and try something different and then fall back on your full-time job or whatever's paying the bills, right? Like, have a plan B, but also don't be reckless. You know, take the risk, but don't be reckless. So I wasn't reckless when I took risks. I always had something to fall back on. Like if I'm gonna bring in, if we're talking about financially, like I've always had a stack of some sort of savings. If I knew if I was gonna quit a job, like I knew 6 months before I quit the job, I was gonna leave the job.
Sure.
Like I had a plan, and that's exactly what happened. Like 2 previous jobs I had. Like I knew, I'm like, okay, like I had a premeditated, what do you say? Premeditated, I can't even, I forgot the word I want to use. Premeditated,
Like you already knew
I was going to leave.
Right.
Exactly. So
you prepared for it.
yeah. So like a lot of people, I hate to use the word fail. I don't want to use the word fail. I don't know what's another softer word, but a lot of people are hard on themselves when they quit a job or leave a path. They find themselves in this deep hole because they didn't plan for it. Like I planned for leaving my job like months in advance, and that's, I think, key in what led me to still staying on my feet and still having confidence and being able to start other projects while I was in between jobs. And that's
just can't do.
you got to plan for those things.
You have to. And if you feel like your soul will know when something's not for you at the end of the day. You know, like you'll know, and you should never stay somewhere where you don't feel happy. You should never stay somewhere where your soul is not. I always say it, like you have to do things that set your soul on fire, that genuinely make you happy, you know? So if you feel like you're stuck, just leave. There's so many jobs out there. There's always something better out, you know? And fear does get in a lot, like in the way of a lot of people's decisions because they're afraid of like, what if it's not, but what if it is? Why can't we overthink the best?
Yeah.
Why do we always have to think of the worst? Why can't we overthink the best? Like, what if I leave this job and I'm not happy and something comes along that's like incredible, that brings out the best in me, you know? So,
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of happened to me too. Like, you know, I went to nursing school and I mean, obviously I'm very nurturing. I love nursing. Like, I love that stuff.
She's a very nurturing person.
And
she really is.
A lot of my nurse friends are like, oh, why are you leaving? You know, you're like, you're so great. And I'm like, it's just not setting my soul on fire. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, this, I know there's something more out there, you know?
Yeah. I think that all of the guests that you've talked to would agree with that too,
Yeah.
right? Like you do the things that set your soul on fire. My curiosity for both of you, have you noticed another common thread, or a common thread if you disagree with the setting your soul on fire, between your guests? Like what is the common thread between all of the people that you've had on?
The common thread, I think most of our guests have taken risks. Yeah, to be honest. Most of our guests were in one path and then pivoted. Ayman Ali, Fashion Talk founder, she pivoted from a background in psychology and accounting.
Yeah.
And she saw a gap. She had a passion for fashion, and she saw a gap in the Cleveland ecosystem when it comes to fashion, and she filled it. She's doing an incredible job. So I think the common theme is take risks, go after what you love to do. Like Chef Rocco we had on, which you just recently had on. He talked about his upbringing and having his mom's food and getting in the kitchen with her. I mean, and that's what inspired him to go off to Vegas and work with Wolfgang Puck for a couple of years before he came back and started Fahrenheit here, and now he has one in Charlotte. So I think the common theme is to really go after what you're passionate about. All of our guests are passionate about what they're doing, whether it's Rebecca Maxwell with She's Company, Jack Bond and Mike Wint from the Cleveland Film Commission, who commissions movies coming into the city and commissioned Superman last year. These are the type of things.
Emma the singer,
who she goes around and performs around the city. Like they all have something to give, and you can see the passion through the way they speak about it. And that's, for the longest time, I used to feel like I want to feel that too. Like how, because I didn't really speak. It was really hard for me to be so passionate about something that was so regulated and very black and white in the background that I come from. And so I've always wanted to speak on something that I was so passionate about. And now I have this podcast. And when somebody asks me, about like what I do for like my full-time job, I'm like, yeah, I work in pharma. And they're like, what? I'm like, anyways, let's talk about the podcast. Let's talk about the more interesting
nice.
part of my life. Not that I'm saying that but I don't take it for granted. My background in pharma, working in a regulated space, has really taught me incredible skills that I use today and have translated into building this company. Like everything that I use to build Unfiltered Brew is things I've learned in my career.
Yeah.
So if you're in a career path that you are not so passionate about, take in what you can, because that will translate to any industry.
Yeah.
The communication skills, having to do presentations in front of the VPs and CEOs, that taught me how to also communicate on here and be able to speak. So I used to feel like, oh my God, like I'm wasting my time doing this, but I don't. No, it actually led me to this point, because everything I've learned has taught me the leadership skills, the communication skills, taught me how to build a brand, really, because you learn all these skills when you're working for a company. So you take what you can and you apply it for yourself.
You learn as you go,
Yeah, I love to take risks, and I love the passion aspect. I think that's something that when we have the luxury of sitting down with people you agree with, right? Like you understand, you can feel that, and it's motivating, and it's also so true, right? Like you have to actually do it. You have to take the risk. You have to stay impassioned.
Do it. And all these people and all the guests that have come on have done, I'm sure they had fear. I'm sure they were fearful of starting something new, but every single person that we've asked, like, what is the advice that you give to someone out there that's trying to start a project or trying to follow their heart? Just do it. Just do it. And
don't think, just do.
Just do it. Yeah.
You guys are awesome. I love it.
No. Just brew.
Just
brew it,
Keep
okay?
brewing, yeah.
There's a closing litany that we always dive into at Chats with Clark. And the first question has to do with gratitude. Now, the two of you just spoke about it, so I'm not going to have you repeat yourselves. So if you missed that part, rewind about maybe 10 minutes or so. The second question has to do with regrets. The question simply is, do you have any regrets in your life? And if so, what have they taught you?
I need to think about that question for a moment. If you want to go first.
It's funny you ask, because I was going to touch up on that. My next point is to, yes, be grateful. Do I have regrets? I used to have regrets. It took me a long time and a lot of therapy to let go of my regrets. A year ago, I would have said I regret not starting sooner in my 20s. Like, I think I took the majority of my risks late 20s, and I was really hard on myself. I'm like, oh, I should have done this when I was young, like in my early 20s. Now I feel like I'm starting over later in my 20s. But I think, coming on to what I just said about like not caring about what people think, because that's a big part of it. I think we position ourselves in a way to please other people and family members, and the way you are perceived. Whether, like, I come from a very traditional family, so it was a big pill. It was a big pill to swallow for my my parents, straight up, when they find out. I didn't tell them when I quit my first job. Nobody knew. I quit the job on the down low, and I was figuring things out, traveling, and then one day they called me like, "Are you like still working for that company?" I'm like, "Actually, no, I'm not." And it was a big pill for them to swallow, because they're like, "Well, we sent you to America. You got this degree." It's like, what do you mean you're exploring? What do you mean? Like, they didn't understand it. And then it took me a long time to, like I said, like through therapy, to forgive them, and also to understand that I had to meet them where I had to meet them where they were. So in their perspective, it was the very best that they can do for me, was sending me, of course, getting me an education, which I don't think was the worst thing in the world. Obviously, I'm very privileged to have an education. So it wasn't until my late 20s I realized, like, again, a lot of work and therapy, to understand that I shouldn't have regrets. Like, those experiences shaped who I am today. So a year ago, I would have said yes to that answer. But today, I'm going to say, like, I have no regrets. I think I think God puts you through things in life to teach you. And then I also, speaking about fear, a lot of people are afraid to take risks because of fear, right? They have fear of maybe not having a stable paycheck every 2 weeks, not having the stability that comes with a job or whatever it is that they want to leave. But taking or like leaving a relationship, that's scary too because you're so comfortable. But I think the only thing that's going to allow you to grow is the discomfort. And that's like a recurring theme I've noticed in my lifetime. I've only grown every time I've hit it really low. I was very uncomfortable, and that's what caused me to grow the next level. And then it was like kind of like a dump.
Yeah.
So I have to keep reminding myself every time I find myself in like a mental rut. I'm like, wait, Noura, use this opportunity to grow. What can you learn from this? And that's something I've learned, I think, from my 20s. So I don't want to say I have regrets because I used to, but not anymore. I've learned from my mistakes.
Yeah. I mean, you can have regrets and learn from your mistakes at the same time too. Like, I think my biggest regret is letting other people's opinions and thoughts of my own passions get in my way. Like, I've always wanted, like I mentioned earlier, since I was a child, I have been wanting to have my own show. I've been wanting to be in the entertainment industry. I've been wanting to be an actor. I want to be known. That's just like, that just makes me happy, you know?
I want to be known for making a positive impact on people's lives. I want us to continue building something meaningful where people can
put me
be
in a
inspired to
stagnant
follow their
position
dreams
where
and their
I
hearts
didn't start
and be kind
when I
and
wanted
spread
to start
positivity
because I was
everywhere
afraid
because
because everyone's criticism got in me. And I think that's one thing I regret is allowing that to happen. And now, I mean, now it's a whole different story, but you know, it's never too late to start something. But I think that's, if I had a regret, I mean, like she said, like you learn from that. But if I had one regret, is I would have started this way earlier without other people's opinions. And that also includes my family too, because they were the type of people, they were like, stop dreaming, stop, that's crazy, like stop being in la la land, you know? And as a kid, like your brain is like a sponge and you remember that, like, and then it makes you feel worthless. It makes you feel like, well, why is my mom, and right now, honestly, my mom's so supportive of us. She literally prays for us every night for something to happen. But at the time, it's just like, why is my mom not think that, like, I'm enough to be able to do this? Like, you know, I'm sure she does, but it just wasn't in her.
It wasn't the norm.
Back in the day, you know? And it's just like, I think that's one thing I regret is allowing people's opinions to get in the way. But not anymore.
It's crazy until it's done. You know, everything's a crazy idea until it happens. Yeah, I love the idea that everything's crazy until it's actually done, right? Every idea that happened. I mean, I think about like the first car. Imagine that notion, right? Like, we're going to get rid of the horse. We're going to make it drive itself.
Yeah. Like
Crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
That
These,
exactly.
like, all
How
these
did that
ideas are
start?
wild.
Yeah.
But the idea of going to outer space, anything that has been done from the smallest idea to seeming the most grandiose was probably crazy in the initial, and then it happens.
Yeah.
The next question of the closing litany that I have for you is, what is on your calendar that you're looking forward to?
She knows my answer. My trip.
Our trip next week.
Yeah. I'm going.
I'm actually looking forward to my trip as well in August. I'm looking forward to meeting my cousin's new baby.
Oh, that's beautiful.
She's having a baby. So the girl that
our first guest
model is actually my cousin, and she's pregnant, and she's about to be due in end of August. So I'm looking forward to meeting the baby. I can't believe she's having a baby.
Yeah,
So happy
amazing.
for them. Her and Jabri. Shout out to Jabri and Diana. Like, I'm so proud of them. They're great. Baby. So
yeah, I'm ready for some time off. Even though I say that, and I won't be mentally off because
you're
on the
go.
You can't
switch
switch
off.
Yeah.
And that's
and then we're both looking forward to, like, once we're all done with our trips and stuff, we're coming back. And, you know, we're gonna keep playing. We do plan on.
We're gonna keep brewing.
We're gonna keep brewing, but we do plan on doing a live event in like the fall area.
So stay tuned. Yeah.
Really.
And we'll have you on our hot seat this time.
Let's do it. Just jumping ahead here to all of the in the description below or in the pinned comment on YouTube, all of the info regarding the Unfiltered Brew podcast and Noura and Kat will be in the description below or in the pinned comment if you're on YouTube. But returning back here, one of the questions that I love to ask is this: When you lie down at night, each night, and you're reflecting on the day that you just had, what is it that you hoped to have brought to the world that day?
We hope that we make people feel inspired, and we hope that people learn something from us, and we hope that we touch every person in a way where, hey, like, we want to motivate people, we want you to go follow your heart and your dreams just like we did, and get out of your little shell. It's pretty great.
It is pretty great.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Yeah. I think I'll just add on to that, just inspire and hope to bring at least one smile to someone through our content. I think, like she said, every episode offers one thing that you can take home with you. And at the end of the day, we're just two little girls that like to have fun. And I said little girls, two.
I mean, we are two
women. Sometimes I forget I'm 31. Two women that like to have fun, and like we show ourselves like on camera. Like I said earlier, we're ourselves. Like that's what you're gonna get on and off screen.
We are two little girls that have a dream and that are following our hearts at the age of where we're at.
Yeah. But it only takes one. That's what's great about it too. It only takes one person to take it and run from it, and it goes from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It's a domino effect. Yeah. Domino effect. Yeah.
Do you have any closing thoughts or piece of advice you would offer to a specific sector of the audience or just the audience abroad? Kind of like your closing notions.
I think I would say just everybody, like, don't be afraid, just do it. That's just my thing. Like, just go for it. Don't let other people's opinion affect, your dreams, and dreams are never too big. So don't ever feel like your dream isn't important or your passion isn't important, because it is important, and that's my thing. Like, you just have to just keep pushing and do it. And you're going to go through days where you might want to not do it, but you have to remember why you started.
It's like she said, like, go after your passion, but don't wait for someone to show you the way. Yeah. I think that's something I've done in my 20s, is wait for someone to, because again, I went to college, you got school, exams, professors showing you the way to life, right? They're teaching you how to go about things, getting a job, applying for a job, going to career fairs. There's like XYZ, like instructions you have to follow, procedures. Don't wait on anyone. Because if you're going to be waiting on someone to teach you something, you're going to be waiting for a long time. We taught ourselves how to start a podcast. We taught ourselves how to edit. We taught ourselves how to, get microphones, set them up, and set up cameras before we were in the studio. We taught ourselves how to build websites. Don't wait for someone to hold your hand. Just do the work. Yeah. Do the work. A lot of people are lazy these days, unfortunately, and I think it's this new and up-and-coming generation. I don't know, like maybe it's because we're in the digital world now. Everything is AI. But use AI to your benefit. Use it to teach you how to do things. Don't wait. Yeah. You don't have to hire out. Don't waste money hiring out on people to teach you how to do, like, building a website or...
Very true, yeah.
Just do it, and you learn so much. And then when you learn, that's actually up to your advantage, because when you do start making capital and hiring out, then you can actually understand how the work is done and dictate how you want the work done for you. You don't want to be wasting money in the early stages of building something. So just learn how to do things on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, you set your own standard.
Set your own standard.
Don't wait for other people to live your life.
That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
And on that, ladies,
and I say
can't
that,
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't thank you both enough,
thank
too.
You so much.
This is amazing.
This was the first interview I've done, honestly. This was a little like...
You guys were great.
Intimidating.
To our audience, again, all of the information that you need to find the Unfiltered Brew podcast, hosted by Noura and Kat, who are our guests on episode 82, will be in the description below or in the pinned comment if you are on YouTube. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, I don't know what you're waiting for. We keep delivering you these top-tier conversations each and every week. I'm your host, Joe Clark, signing off on episode 82. Keep brewing.